So there's an old story about a shepherd and a farmer. Both give what they grew to their god, and God picks the shepherd over the farmer. There's some drama, except I'm not talking about Cain and Abel. There's an earlier version of the story, and instead of brother murder, the older story leads to sex with the goddess. My name is Dr. Teresa Kadish, and today we're going to be talking about a story called The Courtship of Inanna and Dumuzi. It's basically ancient smut, if you like porn about the origin of agriculture and kingship. I guess maybe that's just a me thing. But anyway, today we're going to read one of the oldest ancient sex scenes in the world. Are you ready? So the translation we're going to be using is by Diane Wolkstein and Samuel Noah Kramer. Parts of the story can be found on this tablet and a handful of others like it that were found in the ruins of ancient Nippur in modern Iraq. Dr. Kramer, shown here investigating a very interesting wall, dates these tablets between 1900 and 1600 BCE. That was nearly 4,000 years ago, and translation is really hard, even between living languages. All of these tablets are fragmented and missing key words, and many of the words that we can literally read, we still don't know exactly what they mean. Like, imagine you were reading a story where the only words you had for both butt dial and booty call were anus communication. Basically, in order to make a translation accessible, you've got to talk out of your ass a little bit. So Kramer worked with a professional storyteller, Diane Wolkstein, to produce this book. Originally, these stories weren't written on clay tablets. They were performed out loud for the people, and Wolkstein made sure that we can still do that today in English.
Who will plow my vulva? Who will plow my high field? Who will plow my wet ground?
So, I'm going to tell you a story of how Inanna chose the shepherd Dumuzi, and how they coupled, and what it all meant, using this translation as my guide.
This is the story of the Sumerian goddess of love and fertility, Inanna.
Our story begins when the goddess Inanna receives a finely woven bedsheet from her brother Utu. She says, "Brother, after you've brought my bridal sheet to me, who will go to bed with me? Utu, who will go to bed with me?" And Utu replies,
"Dumuzi, the shepherd. He will go to bed with you."
But Inanna needs to be convinced. "No, brother, the man of my heart works the hoe. The farmer, he is the man of my heart. He gathers the grain into great heaps. He brings the grain regularly into my storehouses." But we all know she's going to end up with the shepherd.
"Sister, marry the shepherd. Why are you unwilling? His cream is good. His milk is good. Dumuzi will share his rich cream with you. Why are you unwilling?"
"The shepherd? The shepherd? I will not marry the shepherd. His clothes are coarse. His wool is rough. I will marry the farmer. The farmer grows flax for my clothes. The farmer grows barley for my table." At this point, Dumuzi steps in and he says, basically anything that guy can do, I can do better.
"Why do you speak about the farmer? Why do you speak about him? If he gives you flour, I'll give you wool. If he gives you beer, I'll give you sweet milk. Why do you speak about the farmer? What does he have more than I do?"
Inanna continues to protest, making some complaint about his lineage, but the line between complaining and flirting gets surprisingly thin here. The word they had spoken was a word of desire. From the starting of the quarrel came the lover's desire. So a marriage is arranged. Inanna's mother tells her that her new husband is going to take the place of her father in her life, and tells her to get ready. So she bathes, she gets dressed up, and Dumuzi knocks at the door. Inanna opened the door for him. Inside the house she shone before him like the light of the moon. Dumuzi looked at her joyously. He pressed his neck close against hers. He kissed her. Inanna spoke. "My vulva, the horn, the boat of heaven is full of eagerness like the young moon. My untilled land lies fallow. As for me, Inanna, who will plow my vulva? Who will plow my high field? Who will plow my wet ground? As for me, the young woman, who will plow my vulva? Who will station his ox there? Who will plow my vulva?" Inanna is pornographically direct here. She wants her hole filled. But she's talking about her desire in a mythological register that tells you that this sex is about way more than just human anatomy. People use plenty of different words for sex. Humping, grinding, banging, fucking.
Hey, you fucking with some wet ass pussy. pussy.
But for Inanna, the verb of choice is plowing. Her vulva is wet ground. It's a field that needs to be plowed by a well-hung ox. The thing to remember is that while Dumuzi is a human shepherd, Inanna is a goddess. So for ancient Sumerians, it's not that their fields were similar to her wet vulva in some metaphorical way. The fertility of their crops was directly related, maybe even exactly the same thing, as the quality of Inanna's sex life.
So I want you to park that Big Mac truck right in this little garage.
Great lady, the king will plow your vulva. I, Dumuzi, the king, will plow your vulva.
Then plow my vulva, man of my heart, plow my vulva. At the king's lap stood the rising cedar. Plants grew high by their side, grains grew high by their side, gardens flourished luxuriantly. Myths in the ancient world served many functions. They were sex education. They were agricultural advice. They justified the political order. So what this very direct sexual language tells me is that the Sumerians understood sex to be at the core of godliness and the source of all the things that were growing around them.
Oh, lady, your breast is your field. Inanna, your breast is your field. Your broad field pours out plants. Your broad field pours out grain. Water flows on high for your servant. Bread flows on high for your servant. Pour it out for me, Inanna. I will drink all you offer.
Give me everything you got for this wet ass pussy.
Inanna sang, "Make your milk sweet and thick, my bridegroom, my shepherd. I will drink your fresh milk. Wild bull, Dumuzi, make your milk sweet and thick. I will drink your fresh milk. Let the milk of the goat flow in my sheepfold. Fill my holy churn with honey cheese. Lord Dumuzi, I will drink your fresh milk." Before my Lord Dumuzi, I poured out plants from my womb. I placed plants before him. I poured out plants before him. I placed grain before him. I poured out grain before him. I poured out grain from my womb. My high priest is ready for the holy loins. My Lord Dumuzi is ready for the holy loins. The plants and herbs in his field are ripe. O Dumuzi, your fullness is my delight. She called for it. She called for it. She called for the bed. She called for the bed that rejoices the heart. She called for the bed that sweetens the loins. She called for the bed of kingship. She called for the bed of queenship. Inanna called for the bed. He put his hand in her hand. He put his hand to her heart. Sweet is the sleep of hand to hand. Sweeter still the sleep of heart to heart. Inanna spoke. He shaped my loins with his fair hands. The shepherd Dumuzi filled my lap with cream. He stroked my pubic hair. He watered my womb. He laid his hands on my holy vulva. He smoothed my black boat with cream. He quickened my narrow boat with milk. He caressed me on the bed. Now I will caress my high priest on the bed. I will caress the faithful shepherd, Dumuzi. I will caress his loins, the shepherdship of the land. I will decree a sweet fate for him. I love the eroticism of this language. I basically made this video because I wanted to read all that out loud to you. It's such a turn on. But that last line, I will decree a sweet fate for him, shows that this sexual language has a broader social function than just getting Inanna off. It actually forms the foundation of Dumuzi's political authority. Over the course of myth, you might have noticed Dumuzi gets a raise from shepherd to king to high priest, and his rise in social status is directly related to his ability to please his goddess. I'm sure you've read myths before about heroes who gain power by slaying monsters, kings who claim kingship through conquest. They're extremely common. But in ancient Sumer, there was another genre of myth, one that doesn't get told so much today, about heroes who gain power by seducing the goddess. After Inanna is satisfied, she decrees Dumuzi's fate. The queen of heaven, the heroic woman, greater than her mother, Inanna, the first daughter of the moon, decreed the fate of Dumuzi. In battle, I am your leader. In combat, I am your armor bearer. In the assembly, I am your advocate. On the campaign, I am your inspiration, you, the chosen shepherd of the holy shrine, you, the king, the faithful provider of Uruk. In all ways, you are fit to hold your head high on the lofty dais, to sit on the lapis throne, to cover your head with the holy crown, to bind yourself with the garments of kingship, to carry the mace and the sword. In all ways, you are fit. May your heart enjoy long days. As the farmer, let him make the fields fertile. As the shepherd, let him make the sheepfolds multiply. Under his reign, let there be vegetation. Under his reign, let there be rich grain. The king went with lifted head to the holy loins. He went with lifted head to the loins of Inanna. He went to the queen with lifted head. He opened wide his arms to the holy priestess of heaven. If you're going to take away anything from this myth, other than perhaps how to make a goddess come, let it be this. There once was a world, in some ancient imagination, there was a world where kings gained their authority not through violence and not through conquest, but through love. And not just any kind of love, I mean fertile, wet, dripping, horny love. The kind of love that gives a cedar tree of boner, love that fills your entire lap with cream. Can you imagine what our world would be like if we chose our rulers not by their ability to direct a military, but by their ability to please their wives? What would our synagogues and our churches and our mosques be like if God felt comfortable enough with his sexuality to orgasm in his scriptures? It used to be that way. It used to be that the creative desire of the goddess was seen manifest in every flower blossom and every ripening fruit. Maybe it's still that way, because although she was buried for 4,000 years, she has not been forgotten, and she's still very horny. Thanks for watching. This video is part of a class I'm teaching about Bronze Age mythology. There are links in the description for all of my sources, as well as to the course Discord server. You can also subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Next week, we're going to be reading some more ancient erotica, this time about the sexual frustrations of Ereshkigal, the goddess of the underworld. I'll see you there.